The lights inside the station were too bright for Tom, and the air always smelled like recycled ozone and some kind of weird flower scent the aliens liked. He stood on a metal platform in the middle of a giant room. It was called the Grand Hall of the United Galactic Federation. It sounded important, and it was. Hundreds of different species were here. Some looked like giant insects, others like rocks that could walk, and some were just floating balls of light. Tom was the representative for Earth. He was an older man with gray hair and a tired face. He wore a simple blue suit. Standing next to him was Ben. Ben was younger, maybe 25, with dark hair and eyes that looked at everything. He held a digital tablet and tapped on it nervously. He was Tom's assistant. "Are they ready?" Tom asked softly. He did not look at Ben. He looked at the empty stage in the center of the room. "Yes, sir," Ben said. "Their ship docked 5 minutes ago. The scanners say they are very big. Very heavy." "Big and heavy does not mean polite," Tom said. He fixed his tie. "Remember, Ben, we are the calm ones. We are the reasonable ones. That is why we are here." The aliens in the crowd started to make noise. It was a low humming sound like bees. The doors at the far end of the hall opened. A group of creatures walked in. They were the Mercans. No one on Earth had seen them before. They were tall, maybe 7 feet high. They had green scales like a lizard, but they stood on 2 legs. Their heads were long and narrow, with many sharp teeth. They wore metal armor that looked very shiny and expensive. Leading them was Speaker Vex. He looked even meaner than the others. He did not walk. He stomped. He moved like he owned the floor. The crowd of aliens went quiet. Even the floating lights stopped moving. Tom put on his best smile. It was a fake smile, but a good one. He walked forward to meet Vex. "Welcome," Tom said. His voice was loud and clear. "I am Tom of Earth. We are honored to meet the Mercan people." Vex stopped in front of Tom. He looked down at the human. His yellow eyes were cold. He did not offer a hand to shake. He just made a hissing sound that sounded like a laugh. "Earth," Vex said. His voice was deep and sounded like metal scraping on stone. "I know you. You are the mud dwellers. The ones who eat dead plants." Tom kept smiling. It was harder now. "We prefer to be called humans. And yes, agriculture is a big part of our history. Please come to the podium. The Federation is eager to hear your terms for joining." Tom stepped back, but Vex did not move to the podium. Vex turned to face the crowd. He raised a long, clawed hand. The crowd waited. "We have listened to your transmissions for years," Vex boomed. His voice echoed off the walls. "We watch this Federation. We see weak species hiding behind rules. We see creatures afraid of their own shadows." Ben looked up from his tablet. He looked at Tom. Tom shook his head very slightly. "Don't react," the look said. "Speaker Vex," Tom said politely. "Perhaps we can discuss trade routes in private?" Vex spun around. "Silence, mud dweller." The room froze. It was very rude to interrupt another speaker in the Grand Hall. It was against the rules. But Vex did not care. "You speak to me?" Vex asked. He stepped closer to Tom. He smelled like burnt meat. "Your species is a joke? You have no claws. You have no armor. Your skin is soft. You break if you fall down. You are pets." Tom took a deep breath. "We are diplomats." I believe in power," Vex interrupted. He reached into his belt. He pulled out a small device. It was a weapon. The alien security guards in the room moved forward. But Vex pointed the weapon at a small pot on a table near Tom. Inside the pot was a small, green fern. It was a gift from Earth, a symbol of life. On the table, there was a holographic projection of the Sol system. It showed the sun and the planets, including Earth. "Look at this," Vex said to the crowd. He aimed the weapon at the hologram. He pressed a button. A red beam shot out. The hologram exploded in a shower of sparks. The little fern pot shattered. The plant turned to ash instantly. The smell of burning filled the air. Ben dropped his tablet. It hit the floor with a loud clatter. Tom looked at the ash. His face did not move, but his eyes went very dark. The fake smile was gone. That was a peace offering, Tom said. His voice was very quiet. It was a weed, Vex said. He laughed again. Just like your planet. We, the Mercans, need more space. Your star system is in a good spot. It is convenient. We will take it. We will remove your cities. We will melt your ice. We will turn the mud into factories. The crowd began to whisper. This was not how you joined the Federation. This was a declaration of war. But no one stopped Vex. They were scared of him. The Mercans were strong. The other aliens wanted to stay out of it. Vex pointed the weapon at Tom's chest. He was close now. Only a few feet away. Get off my station, human. You and your boy. You have 10 minutes to leave. Or we will vent you into the vacuum of space. No one will care. No one will even remember your name. Tom looked into the yellow eyes of the lizard. He felt a strange feeling in his chest. It was not fear. He was used to fear. He had been in politics for 40 years. He knew how to handle threats. But this was different. This creature was not a politician. This creature was a bully. And Vex had just made a very big mistake. Tom slowly reached into his jacket pocket. Vex snarled. Do it, and I will burn you. Tom pulled out a handkerchief. He wiped a speck of dust from his lapel. He folded it slowly and put it back. Then, Tom said. He did not shout. He spoke in a normal voice. Yes, sir? Ben's voice was shaking slightly, but he stood his ground. Pick up your tablet, Tom said. Ben bent down and picked it up. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. Do you have the signal open? Tom asked. Yes, sir. Channel 4 is ready? Just like we practiced. Tom looked at Vex. Then he looked at the thousands of aliens watching them. He looked at the burned plant on the floor. Good, Tom said. He turned his back on Vex. It was a dangerous move. To turn your back on an enemy with a weapon was foolish. But Tom did it. He walked away from the podium. He walked toward the exit doors with Ben. Where are you going? Vex yelled. I said 10 minutes. Do not walk away from me. Tom stopped. He turned his head slightly to the side. We are leaving, Tom said. But you should know something about humans, Speaker Vex. What? Vex hissed. Tom looked at him. We are very nice people. We are polite. We like to share. But you just made us irate? Irate? Vex laughed. I do not care about your feelings. No, Tom said. You don't, but you will. Tom tapped his ear. A small device hidden in his ear beeped. It was connected to Ben's tablet. Ben pressed a button on the screen. Signal sent. Ben said they walked out of the grand hall. The doors closed behind them with a heavy thud. Inside the hall. Vex was still laughing. He thought he won. He thought he scared the weak humans away. He did not know that the signal Ben sent was not a surrender. It was a code. It was a very old code, used by Earth back before they joined the Federation. It was a code that meant only one thing. Wake up the monsters, outside the station. In the deep dark of space, far from the sensors of the Federation, lights began to turn on. They were red lights. They belonged to ships that had been drifting silently for years. The ships were old, rusty, and ugly. They were not elegant like the alien ships. They were built for one thing, violence. Ben looked at Tom as they walked down the long corridor to their private shuttle. Sir, did we really have to leave the plant? Ben asked. My grandmother gave me that fern. Tom stopped walking. He looked at Ben. For the first time, Tom looked angry. No, Tom said. We did not. We are going to go back to the ship, Ben, and we are going to see what happens when someone pokes the bear with a sharp stick. But the Federation rules, Ben said. We can't start a war. We didn't start it, Tom said, walking faster now. He did. And now, my friend, we are going to finish it. The shuttle ride back to the human ship was very quiet. Ben sat in his seat, looking out the small window at the stars. He was still shaking a little bit. His hands felt cold. He kept thinking about the way Speaker Vex had laughed. He thought about the smell of the burning fern. He felt like they had run away. Ben hated running away. He looked at Tom. Tom was sitting with his eyes closed, looking like he was sleeping. But Ben knew Tom was not sleeping. Tom was thinking. The shuttle docked with the main ship. It was called the UWS Resolute. It was a big ship, but compared to the alien ships in the Federation, it looked simple. It was gray and blocky. It did not have smooth curves or glowing lights. It looked like a big metal brick in space. When the airlock door opened, a woman was waiting for them. It was Lisa. She was the tactical officer. She had short hair and a very serious face. She wore a black uniform. "Sir?" Lisa said to Tom. She nodded. She did not smile. "We saw the broadcast from the station." "The whole galaxy saw it." "I know," Tom said. He walked down the corridor, rubbing his neck. "Is the commander on the bridge?" "Yes, sir. He is waiting." Tom, Ben, and Lisa walked through the metal hallways of the ship. Crew members stepped aside to let them pass. They looked at Tom with worried eyes. They knew something was wrong. The atmosphere on the ship felt heavy. The air smelled like oil and coffee. They took a fast elevator up to the bridge. When the doors opened, the bridge was busy. People were talking on radios, typing on keyboards, and looking at big screens on the wall. In the center of the room sat Commander Mike. Mike was a big man with broad shoulders. He had a scar on his chin. He was watching a screen that showed a map of the star system. There were many red dots on the screen. Mike stood up when Tom walked in. "Tom," Mike said. His voice was low and rough. "Is it true? Did the lizard threaten Earth?" Tom walked to the center of the room. He looked tired, but his eyes were sharp. "Yes, Mike. Speaker Vex gave us 10 minutes to leave. He said he is going to take our solar system. He called us mud dwellers." Mike clenched his jaw. He looked like he wanted to punch something. "And the Federation? What did they do?" "Nothing," Ben said, speaking up from the back. "They just watched." "They were scared." Mike looked at Ben. "Scared?" "Yes," Ben said. "The Mercans are big. They have scary weapons. The other aliens are weak. They won't help us." Tom put a hand on Ben's shoulder. "Quiet, Ben." Tom turned to Mike. "Mike, we have no choice. We are alone in this. The Federation rules say we cannot attack. But Vex already broke the rules when he pulled a weapon on us." Mike nodded slowly. "We are alone. Like always." "Yes," Tom said. "And we need to fight back. But we can't use the standard Federation guns. They are too weak against Mercan armor." Mike looked at Tom. A look passed between them. It was a look of understanding. It was a look of secrets. "You want to use the old tech?" Mike asked. The room went very quiet. The crew members stopped typing. Everyone held their breath. Ben looked from Tom to Mike. He did not know what old tech meant. "Yes," Tom said. "I am sending the code now. Unlock the armories." Tom took out a small card from his pocket. He handed it to Lisa. She took it and swiped it into the main computer. "Authorization confirmed," a computer voice said. Code read Tuesday. Unlocking archives. On the big screen, a picture of the WS Resolute changed. It looked different. Heavy metal plates started to slide over the ship on the screen. It showed new guns appearing from under the hull. They were not the small blue lasers the humans usually used. These were big, black tubes. They were railguns. They used solid metal bullets, not light. "Whoa," Ben whispered. "We have those." Lisa started typing fast on her keyboard. "Sir, the cloaking device is heating up. We need to be careful. If we decloak, the sensors will see us." Mike walked to the front of the bridge. He looked out the giant window at the stars. He put his hands behind his back. "Let them see us," Mike said. "Target the Mercan ships around the station." Ben looked at the screen. There were 10 Mercan ships near the station. They were beautiful, sleek, and silver. The Resolute looked like a rusty truck next to a sports car. "Sir," Lisa said, "the Mercans are hailing the station. They are demanding to know where we went. They think we ran away." Mike laughed. It was not a happy laugh. Lisa, charge the railguns. Load the kinetic rods. Tell the fleet to decloak on my mark. Fleet? Ben asked. What fleet? Look at the screen, Ben, Mike said. Ben looked closer at the radar. The screen showed empty space around the station. But then the image changed. Tom had given Lisa a command. Suddenly, the radar picked up things that were hidden. One by one, green dots appeared. There were 50 of them. Then 100. They were surrounding the station. They were human ships. They had been hiding in the debris fields and the dark shadows of planets for years. They were waiting. They were old ships, built for war before Earth joined the Federation. They were made of thick steel and depleted uranium. They were ugly, but they were very dangerous. We never got rid of them, Tom said to Ben quietly. We just hid them. We pretended to be peaceful farmers so the galaxy would like us. But we kept the swords in the closet. Mike picked up a microphone. He pressed a button to speak to the whole fleet. All ships, Mike said. This is the commander. You know what to do. Make them regret it. On the screen, the human ships began to move. They did not fly smoothly like the aliens. They moved with power. Their engines glowed bright orange. Sir, Lisa said. The station is scanning us. They see us. Good, Mike said. Fire at will. The UWS Resolute shook. A loud boom sound echoed through the ship. A railgun had fired. It shot a piece of metal the size of a car at incredible speed. It was so fast that you could not see it. You could only hear the sound of the air being pushed away. On the main screen, they saw the result. The metal slug hit the front merkin ship. The alien ship had energy shields. Usually, laser weapons would bounce off these shields. But you cannot stop a heavy rock moving that fast with a shield. The rock punched right through the energy field. It went through the metal hull of the ship. The ship exploded in a silent ball of fire. Debris flew everywhere. Direct hit, Lisa said. She sounded calm. The bridge crew cheered. They slapped their desks and smiled. But Mike and Tom just watched the screen. Keep firing, Mike ordered. Don't let them catch their breath. Ben watched in awe. The rusty human ships were tearing apart the fancy alien fleet. It was like a pack of wolves attacking show dogs. Suddenly, a red light flashed on Ben's tablet. He looked down. It was a message from the station. It was from Tom's emergency channel. Sir? Ben said. Tom left his channel open. We can hear what is happening on the station. Tom and Mike looked at Ben. Put it on the speakers, Tom said. Ben pressed a button. A sound came from the speakers. It was loud and chaotic. It was the sound of alarms and people screaming. But over the noise, they could hear a voice. It was Speaker Vex, fight back. Vex yelled. He sounded scared now. Why are their shields not working? Shoot them. Shoot the rusty ships. Then they heard a different voice. It was Tom's voice, coming from the station. But it was not the tired Tom from the shuttle. This Tom sounded angry. Your shields stop light, Vex. Tom's voice came over the speakers. But they don't stop mass. Welcome to physics, you scaly idiot. Mike smiled. It was a cold smile. Target the station's weapons array, Lisa, but don't hit the hull. We want our people back. I am on it, Lisa said. The Resolute turned its big guns toward the station. The battle had just begun, and the humans were not running anymore. They were irate. And the galaxy was about to learn why that was a bad thing. The inside of the Grand Hall was filled with smoke and the smell of burnt metal. The alarms were screaming so loud that the floor shook. Ben had listened to the chaos on the shuttle, but now he was back in the middle of it. He had returned with a team of security officers, but he was scared. His legs felt like jelly. He held a heavy black weapon in his hands. It was not a laser pistol like the other aliens used. It was a kinetic hand cannon. It was heavy, cold, and loaded with bullets. Tom stood in front of him. Tom looked calm again. He was fixing his cufflinks, even while people ran past them screaming. The Galactic Council members were hiding under their seats or floating near the ceiling in panic. Stay close, Ben, Tom said. He did not look back. Speaker Vex was still on the podium. He was surrounded by his personal guards. These guards were huge merkins with heavy armor. They held energy spears that glowed blue. Vex looked confused. He looked at the screens on the wall that showed the space battle outside. He saw his beautiful ships exploding. "This is a trick," Vex roared. His voice shook the room. "Federation law. You are breaking the law. These weapons are illegal." Tom walked toward the podium. He walked slowly. He did not run. He walked like he was taking a stroll in a park. "Law?" Tom said. His voice was not loud, but it cut through the noise of the alarms. "You threaten to kill billions of people, Vex. You threaten my home. The law does not apply to people who try to burn your house down. Kill him." Vex screamed at his guards. 4 of the big Merkin guards ran toward Tom and Ben. They raised their energy spears. They roared battle cries. Ben raised his heavy gun. His hands were shaking so much he thought he would drop it. He aimed at the first guard. "Do not miss," Ben thought. "Do not miss." The guard fired an energy bolt. It flew past Ben's head and singed his hair. Ben pulled the trigger of his gun. Bang! The sound was incredibly loud. It was like thunder inside the room. The gun kicked back in Ben's hand, hurting his wrist. But the bullet hit the guard in the chest. The guard had an energy shield on his armor. The blue shield flared for a second. But the heavy lead bullet was too fast and too heavy. It punched right through the shield and went into the lizard's heart. The guard fell down instantly. He did not get up. The other 3 guards stopped running. They looked at their friend. They looked at Ben. They looked at Tom. Tom pulled out his own weapon. It was a smaller handgun, looking old and worn. "Physics," Tom said. "It always wins." Tom fired 2 shots. Bang, bang, 2 more guards fell. The last guard dropped his spear and put his hands up. The aliens in the room were silent. They had never seen weapons like these. They had never seen a shield fail so completely. They were used to laser fights that lasted a long time, with beams bouncing back and forth. This was brutal. It was fast. It was final. Ben looked at his gun. He was not scared anymore. He realized that the aliens were not gods. They were just flesh and bone, just like him. Tom walked past the last guard. He climbed the steps to the podium. Speaker Vex was trembling now. His yellow eyes were wide. He backed away until he hit the wall. "Stay back," Vex hissed. He pulled a small device from his pocket. "I have a dead man's switch. If I let go, this station blows up. I will take you all with me." Tom stopped. He was only 5 feet away from Vex. "You are not a martyr, Vex. You are a bully. And bullies are always cowards. You think you are tough?" Vex yelled. Spit flew from his mouth. "You are just apes. Dirty apes." Tom looked at the device in Vex's hand. It was a simple detonator. Tom looked at the crowd. He saw a jellyfish-like alien named Ambassador Zog floating near the ceiling. Zog was terrified. "Ben," Tom said, not taking his eyes off Vex. "Yes, sir?" Ben answered. He was covering Tom, aiming at the other guards across the room. "Do you remember the play we saw last month? The one about the hero?" "Yes, sir. Sometimes the hero has to distract the villain so his friend can take a shot." Ben frowned. "What?" Vex laughed. "Talking to your pet?" "You're weak, old man." Vex looked at Ben. "You boy. Drop the gun or I blow us up." Ben looked at Vex. He looked at the detonator. Ben remembered his grandmother's fern. He remembered the ash on the table. He remembered the fear he felt in the shuttle. "Hey, lizard face," Ben said. Vex looked at Ben, confused. "What did you call me?" Ben pointed his gun at Vex. "I called you a lizard face. And your mother smells like rotten fish." Vex's face turned red. "How dare you?" Vex took his hand off the wall to point at Ben. For a split second, his grip on the detonator loosened. He was angry. He was not thinking. In that split second, Tom moved. He did not shoot. He lunged forward. He grabbed Vex's wrist with one hand and punched Vex in the throat with the other. Vex gagged. He dropped the detonator. Tom caught it before it hit the floor. He clicked it off. The room held its breath. Vex fell to his knees, holding his throat. He was choking, gasping for air. He looked up at Tom. His eyes were full of fear now. The arrogance was gone. Tom stood over him. He straightened his jacket. He picked up the microphone that Vex had used earlier. Tom looked at the hundreds of alien species watching him. He looked at the cameras that were broadcasting this to the whole galaxy. "I am sorry for the disturbance," Tom said into the mic. His voice was calm and polite. "The diplomatic session is over. Please return to your homes." Tom looked down at Vex. "Take him away." Ben ran up the steps. 2 other human security officers joined him. They grabbed Vex by the arms and dragged him away. Vex tried to struggle, but he was weak without his armor and his threats. Ambassador Zog floated down to the podium. He looked at Tom with new eyes. It was hard to read a jellyfish's face, but he seemed scared. "Humans," Zog bubbled. "You use Forbidden's technology? You broke the peace." Tom looked at Zog. "We broke the peace? Your people watched and threatened us? You did nothing." "We broke the silence, Zog. There is a difference." "You destroyed the Merkin fleet," Zog said. "They were a powerful race." Tom looked at the screen on the wall. The battle outside was ending. The Merkin ships were drifting junk. The human ships were forming a perimeter around the station. "They were bullies," Tom said. "And we don't like bullies." Ben stood next to Tom. He looked at the ashes of his grandmother's fern on the floor. He felt a strange sense of pride. He realized that the humans were not the weakest species in the galaxy. They were just the nicest. And today they stopped being nice. Tom tapped his earpiece. "Commander Mike, do you read me?" "I read you, Tom." Mike's voice came over the speaker. "The station is secure. The Merkin Grand Fleet just jumped into the system." "They look angry." Tom smiled, a real smile this time. It was a cold, hard smile. "Good," Tom said. "I was hoping they would come." Ben looked at Tom. "What do we do now, sir?" Tom put a hand on Ben's shoulder. "Now, Ben? Now we teach them a lesson they will never forget." The view from the bridge of the UWS Resolute was terrifying. Outside the big window, the space near the station was tearing open. Huge flashes of blue light filled the darkness. The Merkin Grand Fleet was arriving. They came out of hyperspace like a swarm of angry bees. There were thousands of them. The radar screen was completely red. The Merkin ships were long, silver, and sharp. They looked like silver knives in the starlight. They were beautiful in a dangerous way. They were much bigger than the human ships. Lisa stood at her station. Her fingers moved fast over her keyboard. She looked calm, but her face was pale. "Sir," Lisa said to Commander Mike, "I count 4,000 ships. That is the whole Grand Fleet. We are outnumbered." Mike stood in the middle of the bridge with his hands behind his back. He did not blink. He watched the silver ships fill the screen. "Numbers don't matter, Lisa. Quality matters." A voice came over the loudspeaker. It was the Merkin Admiral. He sounded very arrogant. "This is High Admiral Kraz of the Merkin Grand Fleet," the voice boomed. "You primitive apes have annoyed us. We are here to squash you. Prepare to die." Mike leaned forward and pressed a button to speak. "This is Commander Mike of Earth. You have one chance to leave. If you stay, we will break your toys. You have no honor." Kraz yelled, "Fire!" The silver ships lit up. Green beams of energy shot across space. It looked like a green rainstorm. The beams hit the human ships. Some of the human ships shook, and sparks flew, but they did not explode. The human ships were covered in thick armor plates made of heavy metal. The lasers burned the paint, but they could not cut through the steel deep inside. "Shields holding at 90%, Lisa said. "Their lasers are too weak." Mike smiled. "They are used to fighting soft targets. They have never fought a tank before." "Sir, they are charging their main cannons," Lisa said. "That is going to hurt?" Mike nodded. "Lock targets. All batteries. Load the kinetic rods." "Aye, sir." Targets locked. On the screen, the Merkin ships were getting ready to fire a massive wave. They thought the humans were just sitting ducks. They thought the humans were scared because they were not shooting back. Aim for their engines, Mike ordered. Do not waste shots on the small ships. Go for the big ones. Let's take the head off the snake. Firing solution ready, Lisa said. Mike took a deep breath. Fire. The UWS Resolute did not light up with colorful lasers. Instead, it shuddered violently. A deep, thumping sound echoed through the hull. Thump, thump, thump. Outside the ship, the darkness was broken by silent flashes. The human railguns were firing. They were shooting solid metal slugs. The slugs were as big as cars and made of depleted uranium. They were moving incredibly fast, 10 times faster than a bullet. The slugs crossed the distance between the fleets in seconds. The Mercans saw them coming on their radar, but they were too fast to dodge. They raised their energy shields. The blue bubbles of light flared up around the silver ships. The first slug hit the Mercan flagship. It was the biggest ship in the fleet. The energy shield tried to stop it. There was a bright flash of blue light. But the slug was too heavy and moving too fast. The shield shattered like glass. The slug kept going. It smashed into the front of the silver ship. It did not explode. It pierced right through. The metal slug tore through the engine room, the bridge, and the back of the ship. The Mercan flagship crumpled like a soda can. A second later, it exploded from the inside out. The fire was silent in space, but the debris flew everywhere. Direct hit, Lisa said. The other human ships fired too. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. The human fleet was a wall of flying metal. The Mercans tried to fight back. They fired their green beams. But the human ships just kept coming. Their shields are useless against mass drivers, Mike said. They built their ships to stop energy. They forgot about rocks. The Mercan fleet was in panic. Their ships turned to run, but the railguns could hit them from behind. One by one, the beautiful silver ships turned into drifting junk. The human guns were accurate. They hit the engines, stopping the ships dead in space. Then they hit the fuel tanks, blowing them up. It was brutal. It was messy. It was fast. Ben was watching from the station's window with Tom. He could not believe his eyes. The human ships were ugly and slow, but they hit like sledgehammers. The Mercans were dancing around, trying to be fancy, and the humans just knocked them down. They are destroying them, Ben whispered. They are destroying the whole fleet. Tom nodded. We told them. We told them we were not to be trifled with. Back on the bridge, the battle was almost over. The radar screen was clearing up. The red dots were disappearing. Admiral Kraz is hailing us, Lisa said. He is begging. Mike laughed. Ignore him. The last of the big Mercan ships exploded. The remaining small ships turned off their lights and drifted. They had surrendered. They knew they had lost. The silence of space returned. The only things moving were the human ships. They moved into a formation around the station, protecting it. They looked like a pack of wolves guarding a meal. Status report, Mike said, sitting down in his chair. He looked tired. All enemy ships disabled or destroyed, Lisa said. We took some hits to the armor, but no major damage. No casualties on our side. Mike nodded. Good, he looked at the view screen. The debris field was huge. It was a graveyard of silver metal. Commander, Lisa said softly. The Federation is watching. They are terrified. Let them be terrified, Mike said. Maybe they will learn some manners. He picked up the microphone. He opened a private channel to Tom on the station. Tom, Mike said. Do you read me? Tom's voice came back clearly. I read you, Mike. The noise out there has stopped. Yes, Mike said. The board is clear. The Mercan Grand Fleet is gone. They are floating junk now. There was a pause on the line. Good work, Commander. Secure the station. No one leaves until we say so, and Vex? Mike asked. He is in handcuffs, Tom said. He is crying. Mike looked out at the stars. It is a shame. They could have been friends, but they chose to be enemies. They picked a fight with the wrong species, Lisa said. Mike stood up. Yes, they did. Tell the crews to stand down. We are done here for now." The crew on the bridge started to cheer again, but Mike stopped them with a wave of his hand. "Don't cheer," Mike said. "We just did what had to be done. Now, clean up the mess." The crew went back to work. The UWS Resolute floated in the silence, surrounded by the wreckage of the enemy. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. They were not the weaklings anymore. They were the monsters under the bed. And they had just woken up. The days that followed the battle were very quiet. The Merkin Grand Fleet was gone. The beautiful silver ships were now just floating pieces of junk in space. The humans had won. The station, Aegis, was still there, but it felt different. The halls were empty. No one wanted to walk near the humans. Tom sat in a small room near the docking bay. He was drinking a cup of hot coffee. He looked out the window at the stars. He watched as human repair ships moved around, fixing the holes in the station's outer hull. They worked fast. The door opened, and Ben walked in. He looked tired, but he held his head high. He was wearing his black uniform, and he had a new gun on his belt. "Sir," Ben said, "the Federation Council is ready for you. They are waiting in the Grand Hall." Tom finished his coffee and stood up. "Are they scared, Ben?" "Yes, sir," Ben said. "Very scared. Ambassador Zog is shaking. I think he thinks we are going to shoot him." Tom smiled a little. "Good, maybe they will listen now." Tom and Ben walked down the long corridors to the Grand Hall. When they walked in, the room was full. Representatives from every species were there. The insects, the rocks, the jellyfish, and the energy beings. They all sat in their seats. They did not make a sound. They were perfectly still. In the center of the room, Speaker Vex was on his knees. His hands were tied with metal cuffs. He looked dirty and tired. He had no armor now. He just looked like a sad old lizard. Tom walked to the podium. He did not look at Vex. He looked at the crowd. "We need to talk," Tom said. His voice was calm. No one spoke. Ambassador Zog floated forward a little bit. "Humans," Zog bubbled. "You broke the galactic laws. You used forbidden weapons. You destroyed a whole fleet. This is madness." Tom leaned on the podium. "Madness. You call it madness when we defend ourselves?" Speaker Vex stood right there and threatened to destroy my planet. He threatened to kill my family. He broke a plan on this stage. Where were the laws then? Zog was silent. He looked at the floor. "You were silent," Tom continued. "You let him bully us because you were afraid of him? Now you are afraid of us. That is fine. Be afraid. But do not mistake fear for weakness. We are not weak." Tom looked around the room. He made eye contact with as many aliens as he could. "We have been part of the Federation for a long time," Tom said. "We let you believe we were just farmers. We let you believe we were soft. We did that because we wanted peace. We like peace. We like art and music and growing plants. But we are also very good at war. We stopped doing it because we wanted to be better people. But if you push us, we will go back to the old ways." Tom pointed at Vex. "This species, the Merkins, tried to take our home. They failed. Now they will pay the price. What will you do to them?" Zog asked. "Will you kill them all?" Tom shook his head. "No, we are not monsters like them. But they will never leave their planet again. We are going to take their ships. We are going to take their weapons. We are going to put a fence around their star system. If they try to leave, we will stop them." Vex looked up. He hissed, "You cannot do this. We are the Merkins." "You are nothing now," Tom said coldly. "You are a protectorate of Earth. You will behave, or we will come back. And next time, we won't leave any ships floating." Tom stepped back from the podium. "The meeting is over." The aliens did not move. They just watched as Tom and Ben turned to leave. As they walked out, Ben looked back. He saw the aliens looking at Vex with pity. But they also looked at Tom with a new kind of respect. *****. 2 weeks later, Tom and Ben were back on Earth. They were sitting on a bench in a park. The sun was shining and birds were singing. It was very peaceful. A little girl ran past them, chasing a dog. Ben smiled. "It is good to be home," Ben said. "Yes," Tom said. "It is. Do you think the galaxy will be okay?" Ben asked. "Will they attack us?" Tom looked at the sky. "No, they saw what we did. They know that behind our smiles we have teeth. They will be very polite to us from now on." Ben nodded. "I am glad. But sir, I have a question. What is it, Ben?" "Before the battle you said Vex made us irate." I looked up that word. "It means very angry. But why did we react like that? We destroyed thousands of ships just because we were angry." Tom sighed. He watched a cloud float by. "It wasn't just anger, Ben," Tom said. "It was a principle. You see, the galaxy is full of predators. Big ones, small ones. They only understand one thing, strength. If we had run away, they would have eaten us alive. We had to show them that we are the biggest predator in the jungle." Tom paused. "There is an old saying on Earth, speak softly and carry a big stick. We speak softly. We are nice. We trade cookies and stories. But we carry the biggest stick in the universe." Ben laughed. "We have a lot of sticks." "Yes, we do," Tom said. "And we will keep them in the closet. But if anyone else threatens our home, we will take the sticks out again." Tom stood up and brushed off his pants. "Come on, Ben, I need to buy a new fern for my office." Ben smiled and stood up. "A good one, sir?" "Yes," Tom said. "A very strong one." They walked down the path together. The sky was blue. The grass was green. It was a beautiful day far away. In deep space, the Merkin planets were quiet. The factories were stopped. The ships were grounded. The name of their species was rarely spoken anymore. When other aliens talked about them, they did not use their real name. They called them the Mistake and the Name of Humanity. That name was spoken with respect. The other species remembered the day the rusty ships came out of the dark. They remembered the loud thunder of the railguns. They remembered that the friendly, soft humans were actually the most dangerous creatures in the stars. No one ever made them irate again. Because they knew, deep down, that if they did, no one would be left to remember their name. The end.